How big is too big? That's the question at the center of a townwide conversation in Needham. The Large House Review Committee recently held a listening session to hear directly from residents about the impact of large-scale homes and what changes, if any, should be made to zoning rules. Municipal producer Yusha Wen has the story.
It's not the first time Needham has taken on the large house issue, and some of the same challenges are expected this time around.
Housing issue or new construction of housing is a series of questions and issues from a gazillion different perspectives. And some of those perspectives are in line with each other, and some of them conflict. Our job is to try to figure out what people in Needham want over this issue and to come up with ways to make sure that that happens.
Monday's hearing featured small group discussions led by committee members. When the meeting returned to the open floor, each facilitator shared key takeaways from that table. While opinions varied on whether house size itself is a problem, there was broad agreement that large new constructions are having visible impacts on trees, stormwater, and privacy.
Even if they had no problem with the houses, maybe they had some of these negative impacts. The distance between houses and kind of a lack of feeling of having the same privacy that maybe they did before, and overall change of neighborhood into something that they did not have when they had arrived.
A lot of concern about runoff from the larger, newer homes and the amount of impervious surface that's resulting from those newer homes. The loss of light that some of those homes cost their neighbors.
Many residents called for stronger collaboration between this committee and two other town efforts, the Tree Preservation Planning Committee and the Stormwater Bylaw Working Group.
And we say we're going to do that, but people really felt that it shouldn't just be check in and talk, but really integrate the findings of these committees because they are interrelated issues.
When it came to limiting the size of future homes, reactions were mixed. Some residents said the growing scale and price tag of new homes are pushing out middle and lower income families.
The houses are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Older homes are dwarfed by newer neighbors. New homes of 25 years ago is now the smallest house on the street.
Some of the folks at our table moved to Needham because it was more affordable than other communities, and that seems to be a reality that is changing to the negative in terms of its ability to accommodate people who don't have the economic means to live in these larger, more expensive homes.
But others worried stricter rules could hurt property values.
One of the things definitely that came up was the impact any new restrictions that will be put in place would have on the property value to people who are living in older houses currently and are considering or would be considering the option of selling to a developer, to a builder.
During the open comment session, Mara Hicks, speaking via Zoom, argued large homes may be necessary for modern families.
A lot of people are working from home. They may also have live-in help. You possibly have multi-generational with adult children or maybe parents or in-laws, living there. And so I think that if we are starting to restrict certain things, we're going to prevent people actually from being able to use a house the way they need to, and they're going to go somewhere else.
Some also cautioned the committee to avoid repeating past mistakes. They pointed to a 2017 effort to curb home size that they say had unintended consequences.
Last time when we were looking at this, we overcorrected for trying to protect property values of those with the very small lots. And those are the same people now that the house is worth nothing now. The land is worth so much more because we allowed so much to be built there. And those are the people that got the really big tax bills.
Formed last fall, the Large House Review Committee has spent the past 5 months reviewing a variety of recently built homes and exploring zoning options to help future construction better fit their surroundings. At the April 15 Planning Board meeting, committee members shared an update on their work, noting a clear interest in lowering height limits and including third-floor attics in floor area calculations.
There was a lot of in the first round of touring of houses and looking at houses, people were very conscious of height. And so we heard again and again and again that these houses looked really tall. So what are we going to do about that? And we think that it's probably going to be smart for us to include first, second, and third floor. We are debating whether we want to include the garage or not include the garage. And the lower level, basement level, is something that we don't think is necessarily to be calculated or carried. The reinforcing the idea here that we're not trying to measure things that we might not see, but we are trying to measure things that we are seeing. And so I think the fairness here is that there's an idea that we match up, we measure what we see.
The committee is also looking beyond Needham for ideas, meeting with planning officials from Wellesley and collecting input from towns like Concord and Lexington. Over the summer, they will sort through community feedback and begin shaping more concrete proposals. The next public hearing is expected in September.
By the time we come back at the end of the summer, I do expect that we are going to have some specific proposals for people to react to.
Final recommendations are expected by the end of the year. At that point, the planning board will take over and begin the formal process of bringing any proposed zoning changes to annual town meeting next spring. For the Needham Channel News, I'm Yu Xiaoyuan.